Good morning, and welcome to the 11th Annual Distinguished Service Awards, sponsored by the Carson Sheriff Station Support Foundation and our host, the great city of Carson. A round of applause, please. We have a wonderful, wonderful program for you this afternoon. We have a special treat for you at the very end of our program, a special video that was made and composed by Figs Effects. And we also want to make sure that we thank all of our sponsors, all of our table sponsors here today. Please give yourselves a round of applause. As you may or may not have seen, Sweeney from the South Bay Pavilion is going to be coming around, and she has raffle tickets. You're going to want to flag her down at some point during the program today. We have lots of goodies and wonderful things to take home. I would like to remind you that the centerpieces that were donated by Seas Candy right here in the great city of Carson are for the honorees that we will be recognizing today. I am the MC for today. I'm Pastor Josh Canales, Executive Senior Pastor of Mission Ebenezer Family Church, and I serve as the president of our foundation for the last 7 years, preceded by Pilar Hoyos of Watson Land Company, who is not able to be here today. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand to your feet. I'd like to draw your attention to the flag to my left, your right. I'd like to invite forward Ray Aldrich, who is going to be doing the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the National Anthem, and then our invocation given by Ray Gonzalez. Ladies and gentlemen, our Pledge of Allegiance, Vice President of the Foundation, Ray Aldrich.
Please, everyone, face the flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do they remain standing?
Remain standing as Nena Francois sings the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. And now Ray Gonzalez will be offering the invocation, formerly of KTLA Pacesetters television program.
And more importantly, I'm a member of Mission Ebenezer Church. That's the most important part. Excuse me, I have a slight cold here, but I hope you will understand me. Dear Lord, we thank you for the core values of the Sheriff's Department, which are profound and important to the residents of the city of Carson. They include honor, respect, integrity, wisdom, common sense, fairness, courage, and to stand against racism and bigotry in all its forms. Lord, you exhort us, all of us, to follow the royal law and to be servants as stated in your word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself, and to be servants for our fellow citizens. As you tell us, Lord, to do nothing from rivalry and or conceit, but in humility count others more important, significant than yourselves. Lest each of us in this gathering look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Have this in mind among yourselves today. We thank you, Lord, for the men and women who will be honored, for they have distinguished themselves beyond the call of duty. Today's honorees walked the second mile to make this city safe and to place a call home, make this place home. And they touch us with a special blessing and touch them with a special blessing, individually and their families. We ask you to favor this gathering, all the folks that are here today, Carson residents, the community representatives, law enforcement officers, the clergy, civic and business leaders. We ask you, Lord, to touch our meal with your blessings. We also thank the men and women who prepared it and are going to serve it. We ask all this in our Lord's name. Amen.
You may be seated. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'm excited as we continue to celebrate and honor the good work of our public safety personnel and their commitment to keeping the community safe. This is our 11th year as an organization. We're proud of our mission to encourage, support, and provide important financial resources to the brave men and women of the Carson Sheriff's Station. Today, we continue our tradition of celebrating individuals that have distinguished themselves through humble acts of heroism. I say humble because they would be the first to tell you that they were just doing their job. However, sometimes they go beyond the call of duty. For this reason, the Distinguished Service Award is reserved for those individuals that left a lasting impression upon our hearts and lives with their dedication and acts of courage. Thank you for attending today and helping us honor our everyday heroes in public safety. A round of applause, please. We're celebrating our 11th year as an organization, and we have to be nearing the $500,000 mark raised over these 11 years that goes to support the vision and the morale of the Carson Sheriff Station. There is no Sheriff Station Foundation like the city of Carson's. I want you to be proud of that and recognize that fact. Whether it's getting behind the vision of Captain Skeen, or our former captain, Captain Marks, or all of those captains that served before them, any of the deputies that have donned the powerful sheriff's uniform, we are so proud. I am so proud as a product of the city of Carson and now president to represent the foundation today. I'm sure glad that everybody is enjoying their meal today. Thank you to the city of Carson who sponsored our today's meal. A round of applause to the great city of Carson. We'd like to recognize some special guests that are here with us. From Assemblyman Mike Gibson's office, Christopher Wilson. Thank you for being here. Round of applause. From Stephen Bradford's office, Mila Rockman. Any of our City of Carson commissioners, a round of applause, please. And now I'd like to invite forward our captain of the Carson Sheriff's Station to introduce and bring up our wonderful, wonderful people here at the City of Carson that lead us, that guide us, that make decisions for the benefit of the people. Captain Skeen has been with us now, closing in on a full year. It's been great getting to know him and serving alongside him here in the great city of Carson. He has made it a priority to work with the foundation and to make sure that we are collaborating so that we communicate the same message with the same vision for the benefit of our great community. Ladies and gentlemen, our captain of station number 16, the city of Carson, Captain Jason Skeen.
Wow, I wish I could get that introduction every time. That's pretty good. Before I get started today, I just wanted to invite up a couple of special guests that were able to make it today. The Mayor, Albert Robles, Mayor Pro Tem, Lula Davis Holmes, and Councilman Jawan Hilton. So if they would come up and please say a couple of words, that would be outstanding.
Thank you, Captain. I want to begin first by giving an opportunity to my colleagues to say a few words. We begin with Councilman Jawan Hilton. I want to say greetings.
Just want to say welcome. We're excited about the 11th Annual Distinguished Service Award. These are the awards they don't highlight on the news in the small newsreel while the community is against the police. And this is about community partnership, and we applaud what you guys are doing here in the city of Carson. So we pause today to take our hats off and salute you, to know that great community begins with partnership with our local law enforcement. So you guys deserve a round of applause, and on behalf of the 100,000 people that we represent, we thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. And now we'll hear from our Mayor Pro Tem, Lula Davis Holmes.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, how are you? This wasn't for short people, I see. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to this wonderful department that serves us here in the city of Carson, and to all of those that are being honored to hear, my hat is off to you. As everyone knows, I come from a law enforcement background, and so I understand what it is to be a wife of a retired LAPD lieutenant. I have a son that's LAPD Detective 2. I have a nephew that's airport police. And I have other family members. So I want to thank the families, because I know what you go through each and every day when your loved one leaves home. So let's give the families of those that are here today a round of applause. It's because of what the Carson Sheriff's Station and other law enforcement officers do in each of their respective cities that we're able to walk the streets and go home to our loved ones at night. And you know, as I told my husband, he was on the force for 30 years, 30 minutes, and 30 seconds is what he always reminds me. That's how long, the 30 minutes is what took him to get downtown to put in his retirement papers. And I just commend you for what you're doing, and I know that we're able to go home and sleep at night because we have people that's protecting the interests of the residents of this great city of Carson. So thank you very much for all that you do. Thank you, Captain, for assembling this wonderful team, and to the honorees today, know that your work has not gone unnoticed, and we in the city of Carson are very appreciative of what you do for us each and every day. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And I also just want to echo what Councilman Hilton said and what the Mayor Pro Tem said, and also just kind of bring it home today. I know that earlier today, a few names were added to the memorial wall at a very somber ceremony, which I've had the pleasure of attending in the past. I did make it this morning. And I know that each and every day, our deputies, Captain, can I say our deputies? Our deputies in Carson do a phenomenal job, and some of you are being recognized today for distinguished service. But it's every day that you're out there doing a phenomenal job. And, you know, there was an incident in Manchester a few days ago, and while individuals die every day, when there's an incident like that, it brings it home. Our deputies perform in our streets, in our city, every day. But when you do something special, it brings it home. So thank you again for your service each and every day, as the councilman said, and thank you for going above and beyond and your special service for the distinction that you're receiving today. Thank you, everyone.
Let's take a picture right here. Let's take a picture right here. And Josh, you need to be in there. Well, with that, I just also wanted to name off a few other special VIP guests that are here today and made their way. Chief Carlos Velez from the Cal State Dominguez Hills Police Department, please stand. Also, Deputy Chief Joanna Fontanetta from the LA School Police Department, and Captain Troy Lucas of the California Highway Patrol, along with Battalion Chief Frank Foreman from the LA County Fire Department. Please stand to be recognized this time. Thank you for your service and for everything you do. Back in October, I was fortunate enough to be assigned here to the Carson Station to be the unit commander. We often don't get to pick our commands. They're simply awarded to us. And I was extremely fortunate to come from such a long line of a legacy of outstanding leaders. But more importantly, it's the legacy of deputies that have come from this unit. I'm extremely proud of what this department and this station has accomplished. Just to give a little bit of patronage to it, about a week and a half ago, 73 riders from the LA County Sheriff's Department participated with several thousand other police officers and deputy sheriffs throughout the United States and traveled more than 250 miles on their bikes in just a number of 3 days to honor 143 new names that were unfortunately added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial Wall. They paid patronage to that, and of that 73 riders, we had 10 of them from this Carson station. That goes to show you our department is about 21,000 members strong in tow. So to have 10 riders from the Carson Station, and then of the 73 riders, 20 of them had lineage back to Carson Station. It goes to show the pride that comes from this place. And then also to have the foundation partially support their ride efforts, because they had to raise money on their own to make sure that they could get there. And it takes several $1,000s. They went out there, raised the money on their own, but they also had some help from our foundation here. And so again, we will be honoring them a little later on, but I just wanted to go to show the legacy again of the outstanding people that we have here. In today's world, it's a bit of a challenging. We have several propositions that recently passed that are making our life a little more challenging in the field. We had Props 47, 57, and AB 109. Collectively, those are just a lot of numbers, but what the impact to us is the ability to effectively police your streets. It becomes extremely challenging, and most of our cities in LA County are now just starting to recognize some of the rise in crime. To date, because of some of the great efforts of our deputies that go out there and our detectives and our support staff that help run that station, we have some of the lowest crime rates in this given area, considering the situation that our deputies face today. You know, you think about it, the state of California, and this is no pick on the mayor, I don't know if he's still here, but we have more attorneys in the state of California than police officers. Less than 0.3%, I know I'm always a numbers guy, 0.3% of the population here in California are police officers. And at any one point, that's less than 1/10 of 1% that is on duty at any one time. They talk about the thin blue line, and that's how thin it literally is between the difference of having order and peace and not. So for those deputies, again, I'm so thankful for everything they do. They do it on their own. I don't have to lead them down. They do it on their own because they care. And while we're here today to give recognition to just a select few that have been chosen, there are deputies that do this with every day, but without the desire to be recognized at all. Oftentimes, I find out about it while attending a town hall meeting with one of our council members. And I find out some of the outstanding works. They don't do this for recognition. They do this because it's a calling. It's in their heart. They want to do the right things, but for the right reasons. And for that, I'm humbled by them. Oftentimes, I see qualities in my deputies, and I want to emulate them myself. It's that type of environment that we have, and we're so fortunate and blessed. And then to have a foundation that also goes to support them. And the foundation board members, who I'll be recognizing later on, are the things that they do. So the foundation has been around, obviously, for a little more than a decade. Most station foundations don't survive 2 to 3 years. It's extremely difficult to get one up, go through the necessary paperwork, file your IRS tax reforms and everything else, and keep it legitimate. Our station has had this proud foundation now, and it has raised, as they indicated, several $100,000 for some of the things that they have done. I'll give just a small list of items that I thought were impressive. Some of the things that they've done, they recently, with the death of Stephen Owens and his unfortunate demise up in the Lancaster Station Valley, within less than 30 days, they made the foundation made a purchase order to get tactical entry vests for our investigators. These vests are extremely expensive. They actually worked to negotiate a price that was reasonable, but also upgrade the level that was almost superior to what our SWAT team, our Special Enforcement Bureau, has today. They've also paid for a gang diversion life skills instructor. They've also funded the station memorial hallway, and if none of you have seen it, there is a photo that will come later in the video. Not only did they fund that, but then the deputies themselves took the time to actually craft it, to do the work themselves, and it came from love and honor. And it's something, as our station has a small little budget to enhance and bring it up from the 1972 era in which it was built, we will never touch that hallway. That hallway is something that we pay respect to those that have given their life at the Carson station. So again, I'm so blessed to be a part of that side of it. The Sport Foundation has also purchased DUI pass devices. They've sponsored block captain meetings and barbecues. They've purchased, again, some other additional items, including station surveillance cameras, ALPR equipment, which is extremely expensive, but they've invested in that technology. They've supported National Night Out, and that's just to name a few items that they have done. Again, extremely fortunate with that to be said. I did want to go ahead and then recognize the board. They're extremely humble in what they do. They are diverse in their backgrounds. We have religious leaders, corporate entrepreneurs, leaders that really give because they want to do it, again, for the right reasons. So I'd like to honor them at this time. If they would stand, again, our MC, Josh Canales, Matthew Rexroth, Jerumi Para, Ray Aldridge, Scott Banks, Pilar Hoyos, Marcy Inez, Anita Kirchlow, Benny Lincoln, Sweeney Montanola, Cy Mamola, and then additionally Joan Rainier, Marianne O'Neill, and then Brisa Sotelo. If those people would please stand to be recognized for all the great work, including everything that's been done today, I'd be grateful. Thank you. And Joan, you don't have to stand. What you're about to see today as we go on to the next portion of the program are people that not only are just heroes, but also people that have strived and to do outstanding service, again, because they had to. There are so many things that take place, again, throughout the week that we don't recognize, but again, they do it because of the right reasons. And so we're so thankful just to have this opportunity with Josh to recognize some of those names. So I'll bring Josh back up. Thank you, and please acknowledge those honorees if you would.
A round of applause for our captain. Now, on to our honoree recognition. I ask that the honorees please come up to the stage from my left, your right. Angela and Chris from the city of Carson will be assisting me in distributing the certificates. And then following the certificate, we'd ask that you'd also make your way back down over here by the sound booth where you take a picture over there by the state flag and our nation's flag. So with that, I'd like to begin with our first award for today. Our first subgroup is the Distinguished Life-Saving Award. I'd like to begin, and as I begin reading, the individual or individuals may come up to the front. Deputy Carlos Cisneros. You can follow along in your program as well. On January 24, 2017, Deputy Cisneros saved an individual's life during a response to a traffic call. The individual was not breathing. Deputy Cisneros took quick action of performing CPR and saved the individual's life and increased his chances of survival. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Carlos Cisneros. Once again, Deputy Carlos Cisneros. Well, just if you haven't been to any of our luncheons, I want you to know that the witching hour is 1 p.m. So we are going to get you out of here in just a few moments. We'd ask that you stick around for the conclusion of today's luncheon if possible. We also have a wonderful, wonderful video that we'd like to share with you along with the culmination in our raffle prizes. Next, I'd like to invite forward Deputy Keenan Files. On April 9, 2017, Deputy Files responded to a situation in which an individual overdosed on heroin. The individual was unconscious and not breathing. Deputy Files performed CPR until paramedics arrived. His actions were extraordinary because he put himself at risk of communicable disease to save a life. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Keenan Files. Thank you. God bless you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate your prayers. This next group, Deputy Gerry Lopez, Deputy Joseph Carson, Deputy Alonzo Peoples, Deputy Timothy Cho, Deputy Melvin Castro, Deputy Lavelle Brown, Deputy Thomas Leonetti, Deputy Clayton Stelter, Deputy Scott Holdsworth, Deputy Brent Gray, and Sergeant Richard Torres. Of these that I just mentioned, a handful are not able to be here today for various reasons, but I'd like to recognize them. On July 28, 2017, the deputies responded to a fire with Los Angeles County Fire in the 19,000 block of Huggins Drive here in the city of Carson. There were 2 occupants in the house. The deputies and LA County Fire personnel removed the security bars from a rear window and were successfully able to rescue the individuals from the burning house and save their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our heroes. Thanks, guys. And our last recipient for the Distinguished Life-Saving Award, an employee through the Parks and Recreation here in the city of Carson, Oscar Rodriguez. On March 16, 2017, during his normal work at Carson Park Fields, Oscar was summoned outside as Coach Victor Perez had collapsed. Oscar saw that the coach was turning blue. His CPR training instincts kicked in. He administered CPR until paramedics arrived. Coach Victor eventually had heart surgery after suffering from a heart attack. But the quick action of Oscar saved his life that day. And our coach, Victor, is a very happy camper, and so is his family. Thank you, Oscar. God bless you, bro. His mother is here as well, there in the center table. God bless you. Dios me la bendiga. And now for our Distinguished Investigation Award. I'd like to begin with Deputy Shawn Highlands. During his normal patrols, Deputy Highlands on March 13, 2017, was suppressing street racing when he noticed two males walking away from a burning vehicle. I don't know why they were walking away. I would have been running. JK. The suspects noticed him and fled. Deputy Highlands caught them with the assistance of other officers. During the investigation, he was able to determine they were potential suspects in a robbery and carjacking. Through his investigative work, he located the victim of the robbery that identified the suspects as the robbers. His work led to the arrest of 2 arson, robbery, and possible carjacking suspects. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Shawn Highlands. And our last group for the investigative award, Detective Steve Dennis and Detective Jason Parolini. They must have some fans. Detective Dennis and Detective Parolini are respectively known as the video whisperers and trusted partner. Together, they're using video technology to successfully solve crimes. They have successfully solved many cases by researching hundreds of license plates combinations and looking at booking photos. Their work continues to help solve cases and recover stolen property. Ladies and gentlemen, Detectives Steve Dennis and Detective Jason Parolini. I remember a couple of years ago, our church got broken into, and Dennis was there to help. Though we didn't find the critters. And our next group is the Distinguished Crime Watch Award. I'd like to invite forward Deputy Ulysses Lojman and Law Enforcement Technician Rose Elizarraras. I practiced her last name. Deputy Lojman and LET Elizarraras are the dynamic duo when it comes to monitoring and managing the sex registration program. Their efforts have resulted in violent sex offenders being arrested as well as safely locating juveniles. Thank the Lord. Their dedication is helping to successfully address sex crimes in our community and surrounding areas. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Ulysses Lojman and Law Enforcement Technician Rose Elizarraras. Our next award is the Distinguished Collaboration Award. I'd like to invite forward Deputy Adriana Constante, Deputy Joshua Bonnert, Deputy Enrique Jin, Detective Stephen Sather, and Sergeant Jose Ramos, along with the 2 individuals that were in the incident, Ms. Begonia Santos and Katina Stallworth as well. On April 19, 2017, a robbery occurred on Main Street and 218th Street. The detectives and deputies worked with the victim and witness to solve the case. After 18 grueling hours, hard work, they successfully recovered property and arrested the individuals responsible for the robbery. This is an example of great work between a citizen and the deputies. We want to promote safety first, but if you see something, say something. It's very important and helps deputies keep the community safe. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Adriana Constante, Deputy Joshua Barnard, Deputy Enrique Jin, Detective Stephen Sather, and Sergeant Jose Ramos. Victims Begonia Santos and Katina Stallworth. And now on to our Distinguished Community Service Award. I'd like to begin by recognizing Officer David Todd. David Todd has served our community and our kids as a Los Angeles policeman for 20 years. He is well respected and liked by students, teachers, and parents. As he retires, his legacy of interaction with students will be missed, especially his commitment to helping with the anger management program provided for students in our school districts. We thank you, Officer Todd, for your service and for giving from your heart to our great school community. God bless you. Officer David Todd. Retired, but never tired. Congratulations, officer. Now I'd like to recognize firefighter paramedic Dennis Cota. Dennis has, a round of applause, go ahead. You must know him. Dennis has served at Fire Station 116 in the city of Carson since completing his probationary period. His emergency service is outstanding. From saving lives by risking his own life to being a compassionate listener, he has made Carson a better and safer community. Firefighter paramedic Dennis Cota. We are moving right along. Our next award is the Distinguished Trailblazer Award. I'd like to invite forward Officer Melissa Handley. Officer Handley graduated from the Academy in May 1996 and has been an exemplary officer. She has helped recruit more diversity and trained over 100 officers as a field training officer. She is unique with the CHP in that she is the only female motorcycle officer in the state. In 2008, she was awarded the Governor's Medal of Valor, the highest state award for a public safety official. I'd like to invite you to follow along in your program as there's a greater and more extensive write-up of Officer Handley and her accomplishments. She is outstanding, and her work is to be recognized today. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Melissa Handley. For our next group, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand. Our final group is our In Memoriam group. I'm going to read the names of those that were lost in the line of duty while serving here at the Carson Sheriff's Station. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence as we recognize Deputy Sheriff Walter Hannon, Reserve Deputy Sheriff Constance Ward, Deputy Sheriff Lawrence M. Lavieri, and Chaplain Bruce Bryan. Thank you. You may be seated. As we recognize those who are a part of our end of watch, we'd like to recognize a very special group from the Carson Sheriff's Station. This group of individuals collectively participated in the Police Unity Tour, which is a bicycle ride of nearly 300 miles to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. These 10 officers joined nearly 300 other officers representing Southern California. They departed Somerset, New Jersey, and traveled through Philadelphia, Baltimore, to Washington, D.C. The primary purpose of the tour is to raise awareness about police officers who died in the line of duty. Their motto is, "We ride for those who died." At the ceremony in Washington, D.C., the name of every officer who died in the line of duty is read and is added to the memorial wall. Please join me again in a round of applause for our Carson deputies that are helping make sure our police heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice are not forgotten. Deputy Shawn Highlands, Deputy Jose Ramirez, Deputy Christina Bannigan, Deputy Bao Dang, Deputy Amy Valdez, Traffic Investigator Jeff Lidman, Deputy Clayton Stelter, Deputy Glenn Nakasaki, Reserve Deputy Sheldon Rocker, and Sergeant Carlos Viramendi. A round of applause, please. And please come forward. Come forward, please. We'd like to recognize you all. There's somebody that I'd especially like to recognize in this group, and that's Sergeant Carlos Viramendi, who serves in the Community Relations Department with Captain Skeen and our Carson Sheriff's Station. Carlos works hand in hand with us at the foundation, and believe me when I tell you, we would not be able to do what we do if not for the great work of Sergeant Carlos Viramendi. And so I'd also like to commend and recognize Sergeant Carlos Viramendi in everything that you do quietly, unselfishly, and humbly. He serves this great station and our great community. Once again, a round of applause for this amazing group of deputies. Wow. How did we do on time? We do all right? We'd also like to recognize a few groups whose names and were our sponsors did not make it into the printable program today. And those are a bronze sponsor, Thunder Studios, VIP tables of the Carson Women's Club, Carson Sheriff Station Gang Diversion Team, and the Carson Chamber of Commerce. Please, a round of applause for them. We'd like to offer a special thanks to Richard Chang and Premier Printing for their printing services and donating several items for today's luncheon. Alan Caldwell of Lancaster Caldwell Group for donating the graphic design services for all of our graphic work. Round of applause. the Carson Women's Club, who are our wonderful and lovely hostesses this morning. I'd like to thank the Carson Community, City Council, our sponsors, the men and women of Carson Sharon Station, our board members for this special occasion and event. I'd like to thank my church, Mission Ebenezer Family Church, and everything that you guys continue to do to make this possible. Notably, Bianca Munoz and your hard work. Thank you for your support. I'd also like to recognize my wife, who is here with our 6-month-old daughter there in the back. And my mother, who is there hoisting her up. Thank you for coming, Mom. You're always there to support. One last time, I'd like to recognize our foundation. Foundation members, would you just raise your hands right there where you're at? Thank you for everything that you do. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to play our video. And following the video, we will have all of our raffle prizes for today's luncheon.